In the beginning, there was light, not the light you know, but a living light, a light that sees, a light that remembers. And beyond the veil of breath and time, there is a place where every soul arrives, a place not built by hands, but by truth. They call it heaven, where the sky does not end, and the light never fades, where angels move like wind through eternity, and every sound carries peace. And at its gates stands a king, not of power as the world understands it, but of love. A love that does not measure perfection, but sees the heart. Because every soul that arrives here brings a story. Some come with joy, some with regret, some with questions they never answered, and some, like Elias, arrive unprepared. He thought he had more time, more chances, more tomorrows, but time was never his to keep. So he stands now at the edge of eternity, wondering if he belongs. But heaven does not ask what you claimed, only what you lived. Every moment returns, every choice, every kindness, every silence, not as punishment, but as truth. Because truth is the doorway no soul can avoid. And in that moment, when there is nothing left to hide, a voice calls out, not with judgment, but with understanding. You were never unseen. You were never alone. Even in your silence, even in your failure, even in your doubt, love was there, waiting. But there is another voice, a quieter one, yet sharper, a voice that whispers, "You are not enough. You have failed too much. You do not belong here." It does not shout, it does not force, it only reminds of what you fear is true, and many believe it, because shame is heavy, heavier than regret, heavier than truth. But heaven is not shaken by shame, because shame is not truth. It is the shadow cast when truth is avoided. And so the soul must choose, not between heaven and rejection, but between fear and honesty. Elias sees it now, not just what he did wrong, but what he almost became. The kindness he ignored, the love he held back, the courage he postponed, and it breaks him. But not in destruction, in awakening. Because the moment a soul says, "Yes, I failed. Yes, I was afraid. Yes, I was not who I could have been," that is the moment darkness loses its voice. Because truth, spoken without defense, becomes light, and light cannot be undone. The shadow fades, not by force, but by truth accepted, and in its place, peace. Not the peace of perfection, but the peace of being seen and still being welcomed. Because heaven was never for the flawless. It was always for the willing to see, the willing to change, the willing to love, even after falling. And then the question changes. No longer, do I belong here? But instead, what will I become now? Because heaven is not the end of your story. It is the continuation of it. A place where love does not stop. It multiplies, where every soul becomes a light for another still searching in the dark. And Elias, once lost,
Father, I press in deeper. I refuse to remain on the surface. Take me into the deep things of your Spirit. Let my life not be ordinary. Let my walk with you not be casual. Draw me closer, closer than before. Lord, align my destiny completely. Anything in my life that is out of place, rearrange it now. Anything not planted by you, remove it. Anything missing in my life, supply it. Bring everything into divine order. Father, I receive direction for this season, not yesterday's instruction, but fresh guidance for today. Show me what to do next. Show me where to go next. Let me not move blindly. Let me not act without instruction. Guide me step by step. Lord, let my ears be open, even in silence. Let me hear you. Through your word, speak to me. Through my spirit, speak to me. Let me recognize your voice clearly. I will not be confused. I will not be misled. Father, I declare divine positioning. Place me where I need to be, at the right place, at the right time, with the right people. Let everything align perfectly. No more misplacement, no more wrong timing. Lord, release strategic connections, not just helpers, but destiny partners, people who understand purpose, people who carry vision. Let iron sharpen iron in my life. Remove every connection that weakens me. Establish every connection that strengthens me. Father, let doors of opportunity open widely. Doors I did not knock on, let them open. Doors I thought were closed, let them reopen. Let opportunities come from unexpected places. Lord, breathe upon my efforts. Let the works of my hands prosper. What I touch will grow. What I start will succeed. Let there be increase on every side. Father, release supernatural ideas, ideas that solve problems, ideas that create impact. Let creativity flow within me. Let wisdom guide my actions. Lord, I declare breakthrough. Every stubborn situation, break now. Every long-standing issue, end now. Every repeated struggle, stop now. This is my moment of breakthrough. Father, let your power move suddenly, without warning, without delay. Let there be divine intervention. Change situations instantly. Turn things around overnight. Lord, let my life attract miracles, not occasionally, but consistently. Let miracles become my daily experience. Let testimonies never cease in my life. Father, I walk under open heavens. No blockage, no resistance. Blessings flow freely. Favor flows freely. Grace flows freely. Lord, I receive boldness. Boldness to step forward. Boldness to take action. I refuse fear. I reject doubt. I move with confidence. Father, strengthen my faith. Even when I don't see results immediately, let me remain steady. Even when things seem slow, let me remain strong. I will not give up. I will not turn back. Lord, establish my identity in you. Let me know who I am. I am not weak. I am not limited. I am chosen. I am empowered. I am guided by you. Father, I step into authority. Authority over fear. Authority over delay. Authority over every obstacle. Nothing will control me. I walk in dominion. Lord, let every negative cycle break. Cycles of delay, end now. Cycles of failure, end now. Cycles of struggle, end now. I step into a new pattern of victory. Father, release divine restoration. Restore my...
And yet, even at the edge of light, some still hesitate. Because stepping forward means letting go. Letting go of the story you told yourself about who you were. Letting go of the weight you carried as if it defined you. But in this place, nothing false can remain. Not your titles, not your fears, not even your excuses, only truth and what you chose to do with it. And so the gates do not open for status, they open for surrender. For the quiet moment when a soul no longer pretends, when it stops running and finally turns around to face everything it tried to outrun. Because beyond the gates, there is no illusion left. No masks, only clarity. And clarity can feel overwhelming. Like standing in a light that sees through everything. But that light does not expose to shame you. It reveals to restore you. Every hidden kindness brought forward, every unseen sacrifice made visible, every moment you chose love, even when it cost you, remembered. Because nothing given in love is ever lost. It echoes far beyond what you saw, far beyond what you felt, into eternity itself. And in that realization, something begins to change, not around you, within you. Fear loosens, regret softens, and what once felt like failure becomes understanding, because you begin to see you were never expected to be perfect, only present. Present in your choices, present in your love, present in your becoming. And even when you failed, even when you turned away, even when you chose yourself over others, there was always another moment, another chance, another breath, waiting to be used differently. And now, all those moments gather, not to condemn you, but to complete you. Because a life is not measured by a single decision, but by the direction of the heart. And the heart always leaves a trail of what mattered most, of what you pursued and what you ignored, of what you held on to and what you let go. And here, that trail becomes visible, clear, undeniable, but also redeemable. Because where there was once hesitation, there can now be courage. Where there was once silence, there can now be truth. Where there was once fear, there can now be love. And that is the miracle of this place. Not that it erases your past, but that it transforms it. Every regret becomes a lesson. Every failure becomes a doorway. Every moment of weakness becomes a reason to rise. And suddenly, you are no longer the person you thought you were. You are more aware, more honest, more alive than ever before. And that is when you begin to understand heaven is not given, it is revealed. Revealed in the moment you stop resisting truth. Revealed in the moment you accept both your light and your shadow. Revealed in the moment you choose to move forward. Anyway, and as you step closer, the gates no longer feel distant. They feel familiar, as if they were never closed to begin with, only waiting for you to see them clearly. And beyond those gates, there is no end, no limit, only expansion. Light stretching beyond imagination, purpose unfolding without resistance, connection that cannot be broken. Because here, love is not something you search for, it is something you become. And when you become it, you begin to move differently. You see differently. You feel differently. Not bound by fear, but guided by truth. And in that state, you are no longer arriving. You are becoming a voice for those still lost in silence, becoming a light for those still walking in darkness, becoming a reminder that no soul is ever too far gone. There comes a moment when the silence speaks louder than sound, not empty, but full of everything you avoided hearing, every truth you delayed, every feeling you buried, every question you never answered. And here, in the presence of eternity, silence is no longer something to escape. It becomes something to understand, because within that silence, you finally hear yourself clearly, not the version shaped by the world, but the one that existed beneath it. The one that still believed in good, even after disappointment. The one that still reached for light, even after walking through darkness. The one that never fully gave up, even when you thought you had. And that is the part of you that heaven sees. Not the noise, not the mistakes, but the truth beneath it all. Because beneath every fear, there was a desire to be better. Beneath every failure, there was a moment you could have chosen differently. And beneath every regret, there was love, waiting to be expressed. And now, nothing is hidden anymore. Not from judgment, but from misunderstanding. Because for the first time, you see your life not as fragments, but as a whole. Every moment connected, every choice echoing, every action carrying meaning. And in that clarity, you realize something unexpected. You were never as lost as you believed. You were learning, slowly, imperfectly, but still moving. Even in your lowest moments, something in you kept going. And that something was never accidental. It was purpose, quiet, patient, unseen at times, but always there, guiding you even when you resisted, calling you even when you ignored it, waiting even when you delayed. And now, you can no longer miss it, because purpose in this place is not hidden. It is revealed like light at dawn, gradual, then undeniable. And as it rises, so do you. Not as the person you were, but as the person you were becoming all along. Stronger? Not because you never fell, but because you finally understand why you did. Wiser? Not because you had all the answers, but because you stopped pretending you did. Whole? Not because nothing was broken, but because you allowed it to be restored. And this restoration, it is not sudden. It is not forced. It is gentle, like light filling a room, one corner at a time, until there is no darkness left to hold on to. And in that light, you begin to see others differently, not as strangers, but as reflections, Souls walking paths you once walked, facing doubts you once faced, carrying burdens you once carried. And instead of judgment, you feel compassion, because you understand now. You remember what it was like to not know, to not see, to not believe you were enough. And that memory becomes your purpose, to remind them, not loudly, not forcefully, but gently, the way truth was shown to you, through presence, through patience, through light that did not demand, but invited. Because the greatest power in this place is not control, it is influence, the quiet ability to reach a soul without overwhelming it, to guide without forcing, to awaken without breaking. And that is what heaven becomes. Not just a destination, but a living movement, a flow of light from one soul to another, endless, unbroken, eternal, and you are now part of it, not because you earned perfection, but because you chose truth. And that choice echoes further than you can see, into lives you will never meet, into moments you will never witness, into hearts that are still searching for even the smallest sign of hope. And when that hope appears, even for a second, everything can change. A decision, a direction, a life, all shifting because light found its way in. And that is the quiet miracle happening every moment, not just here, but everywhere. Because heaven is not separate from the world, it is connected to it, flowing into it, reaching through it, calling every soul back toward what is real, back toward what is true, back toward what has always been waiting. And so the gates remain open, not as an end point, but as a beginning. And even now, the story is not over, because eternity is not a single moment frozen in time. It is movement. It is growth without end. It is becoming again and again. Beyond the gates, there are horizons still unseen, depths of light yet to be understood, forms of beauty that words cannot hold, because heaven is not static, it is alive, breathing with purpose, expanding with every soul that chooses truth over fear. And as you walk further, you begin to notice something extraordinary. The light around you responds, not randomly, but personally, shifting with your awareness, brightening with your understanding, expanding with your willingness to see more. Because here, reality is not separate from you. It reflects you, not who you pretended to be, but who you truly are. And as that truth deepens, so does everything else. Colors become richer, sound becomes fuller, presence becomes undeniable. It is not just something you observe, it is something you participate in. Because in this place, you are not merely alive, you are connected. Connected to every soul that has ever chosen love. Connected to every moment that carried meaning. Connected to the very source of the light itself. And that connection, it cannot be broken. Not by time, not by distance, not even by doubt. Because doubt has no place where truth is fully seen. And yet, the memory of doubt remains, not as a burden, but as a reminder. a reminder of the journey, of what it meant to search, to question, to struggle towards something unseen, and that memory becomes wisdom, a quiet understanding that every soul still searching is not lost, only on the way. And so you begin to move differently, not just as a presence of light, but as a guide, not leading from above, but walking alongside, because the greatest guidance does not come from distance. It comes from understanding, from remembering what it felt like to not know, to not see, to not believe, and choosing to reach anyway. And somewhere, far below, another soul stands at the edge of their own moment, a moment that feels small to the world, but immense to them. A choice between giving up or holding on, between closing inward or reaching outward. And in that moment, something shifts, not loudly, not dramatically, but enough. A thought, a breath, a pause that wasn't there before. And in that pause, possibility enters, because even the smallest space can let in the light. And that is how it begins. Not with certainty, but with openness. Not with perfection, but with willingness. The same willingness that brought you here. And as you witness this, you understand something deeper than before. Heaven is not separate from their struggle. It is present within it, working quietly, gently, constantly, turning moments into turning points, turning endings into beginnings, turning doubt into discovery. And so the cycle continues, not repeating, but expanding. Each soul adding something new. Each journey revealing something more. Each choice strengthening the light. Until one day, they too will stand where you once stood, at the edge of everything, wondering if they are enough, wondering if they belong. And just as it was for you, the answer will not come as a command, but as a realization, a quiet knowing that rises from within. You were always enough to begin. You were always capable of becoming more. You were always seen, even when you felt invisible, and you were always loved, even when you could not feel it, because love in its truest form does not depend on your awareness of it. It simply remains steady, patient, unchanging. Through every mistake, through every delay, through every moment you thought you had gone too far. And when that truth is finally understood, not just heard, but felt, everything softens, the resistance fades, the fear dissolves, and what remains is clarity, pure, undeniable, free. And in that clarity, you no longer ask where you are. You understand, you are home, not a place, but a state of being, a return to what was always real, always present, always waiting. And from that place, there is no separation, no distance, no loss, only connection, only purpose, only light. And so the gates, they are not the end of the journey, they are the recognition of it. The moment you see what was always there, the moment you remember what you could never truly lose. the moment you step fully into what you were meant to become. And beyond that moment, there is still more to discover, more to understand, more to give, because eternity is not about arriving. It is about continuing to grow, continuing to love, continuing to become forever. And in that forever, there is peace, not the silence of nothingness, but the harmony of everything. Working together, moving together, existing together in perfect balance. And you are part of that harmony now. Not as a note separate from the song, but as the song itself. Living, resonating, endless, and as the and beyond the farthest reaches of light, past the final edge of fear, there exists a horizon that never stops unfolding. Not a horizon of distance, but of understanding. Because eternity is not measured in miles or moments. It is measured in awakening, in every truth finally embraced, in every layer of the soul finally uncovered. And the deeper you walk into the light, the more you realize there was always more to discover. More beauty than the eye could hold, more peace than the heart believed possible, more love than language could ever explain, because human words were never designed to fully describe eternity. They can only point toward it, like echoes trying to describe music, like shadows trying to explain the sun. And still, the soul understands, not through logic, but through recognition. A recognition older than memory itself, as if something inside you whispers, "Yes, this is what I was searching for." Not wealth, not achievement, not applause, but this feeling of complete alignment, of nothing hidden, nothing divided, nothing missing. And in this place, you finally understand why the world always felt incomplete. Because Earth was never meant to be the final destination. It was the beginning, a classroom for the soul, a place where light could be chosen despite the existence of darkness, a place where love could become meaningful because it was not forced, and every challenge, every sorrow, every unanswered question was shaping the soul's ability to recognize truth when it finally stood before it. That is why the light feels familiar now, because some part of you always remembered it. Even in your darkest moments, even when life became heavy, even when hope seemed distant, there remained within you a quiet longing for something eternal, a longing no earthly thing could satisfy. And that longing was not weakness, it was direction, a compass hidden inside the spirit, calling you home again and again through every season of life, through every failure, through every victory that still left you empty, through every night you stared into silence, searching for meaning. The light was always calling, patiently, faithfully, without force, waiting for the moment you were ready to hear it clearly. And now, standing beyond time,